Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to take you through some of the basics of how I paint peonies. And I like to use a round brush. A lot of people like to use a filbert brush, which is like the rounded, these ones. But this is another really great option, and most people have one of these in their set already. So I highly encourage you to follow along. Really great practice if you love florals as much as I do. So let's come to our water. And let's make this, let's go for like a coral peony. I'm gonna mix some of my primary yellow into my pink. Maybe I'll mix a little bit of my orange into there. This is Orange Lake. Let's go ahead and get started with the petals. So we're gonna do some practice petals first, and then we're gonna put it together into the flower. So over here, I'm gonna go light pressure, heavy pressure, light pressure. Get a little bit more water, light pressure, heavy pressure, light pressure. So a little bit extra water here. I'm just gonna dab that up. That looks perfect. Let's move on to another one. I'll come back to my color, maybe mixing a little bit more up. We're gonna light pressure, heavy pressure, light pressure. Maybe we leave a little bit of white space into that one. You want each of them to be a little bit different, but just for practice sake, you know, whatever varies happen between your petals is gonna be perfectly fine. Let's go for another one. I have a little bit more water in my brush, so this one's gonna be a lot lighter. Doing that same thing. And we're gonna practice one more petal shape before putting this peony together. And we're just gonna practice some very basic up and down strokes. So let's go right here. We're just gonna go up, down, up, down, up. Practice it with some more water. Maybe we're right here next to it. Up, down, up, down, up. Again, you can mix up your water ratio. That also gives you good practice. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, now let's go ahead and put this peony together. We're gonna come back to our paint and we're gonna get a good amount mixed up. We want this to be heavier on the pigment side. And let's come to your first peony petal. We're gonna have this peony facing maybe up into this corner a little bit. And our first petal is gonna go here. Light pressure, heavy pressure, light pressure. A little bit more water, heavy pressure, and light pressure. Now we're going to repeat the same thing again. We're going to go light pressure, heavy pressure, light pressure. There we go. Let's grab some more water and let's start to enclose this peony. So maybe we're just practicing that first stroke. Maybe we're not doing two together to combine it, but maybe we're just going one time for that C stroke here. We're going to do that again. Coming down. Nice. Let's grab some more paint. And let's come to the top. We're going to practice those jaggedy strokes that we just did. So maybe we're here. Up, down. Down. I'm going to add one more on this left side. Just that initial C stroke. Now we're going to come lower and we're going to add some petals that are maybe fallen down a little bit. So these ones we still want to connect here at the bottom of the flower, but since they're falling open, they're going to be facing downward. Same strokes, starting light, going heavy, going light. Getting some more water. Again, if I had a really dark petal here and a really dark petal here, it's gonna look pretty, but if you wanna add a little bit more interest, you're gonna mix up the water ratio for the petals right next to each other. So I'm grabbing a little more water, and maybe we're right here. Again, I want it to point down to this center. I'm gonna go down and up. Couple more C strokes by themselves. You want these petals to overlap a little bit. And that's going to be your very basic peony. If we wanted to, we could add a couple leaves here. It's going to be the same idea as far as the shape. I'm going to come to my sap green, maybe mix a little bit of my green gold into this mixture to brighten it up. Always looks really pretty. But we're still just going to do those C strokes. If we were to add a stem, that's going to help us a little bit more identify where we want the leaves to be popping out of. So our stem should always come back to the center point, and then we see that the peony's facing over there. So right here is where I kind of want my stem to kind of come from. So let's go here, just like that. Now we know maybe we have a leaf come in right through there, and where would that pop out? Let's say it pops out right here for a C stroke. Typically for the water, I like to keep my warm colors in here, my reds, my yellows, my oranges, and my greens, and my blues for the cool colors over here. I am not paying attention, and I've gone a little bit back and forth today, but just know that my goal when I'm trapping for water is going to be keeping the greens in here and the warm colors in there so that the water doesn't get too murky and brown. And I want to finish with maybe one more little stem coming from here. All right, now that we have this first peony done, if I were to put together a full floral painting of these, I wouldn't want them all to look exactly like this one. So maybe they're at different stages in the blooming process. Maybe we have a couple that are a little bit more enclosed. As you can see, this one's a lot more open. So let's practice that for the next one, using maybe some more yellow. We are almost into spring, and the yellows and the soft spring colors are right around the corner. Let's do exactly the same thing we did with this one, starting with the petal practice. We're gonna do that basic petal, but let's go a little bit smaller. Heavy pressure, light pressure at the end. And clean it up a little bit if you need to. Same thing again, come into our paint, loading up the brush. Starting with the tip of the brush, using the belly, ending at the tip of the brush. Last one, let's go a little bit on the lighter side. Nice. Now let's practice our jagged strokes. Just getting comfortable holding the brush. Now that we're warmed up, we're gonna come and get started with that actual flower. Starting exactly like we did with the first one, with this initial petal. Grabbing some more water for the one right beside it. And this one's gonna be smaller, so maybe we don't have 3 big ones right next to each other, but maybe it's just these 2. Couple extra C strokes on the side to kind of close it in. And let's go with those jagged strokes at the top. Let's add a stem. We want to start right here at the bottom in the center. And again, this one's facing off that direction, so rather than having the stem going that way, it's going to kind of curve up and over. Maybe we have a tiny little leaf. Here are the results of my practice. Again, just a few very basic brush strokes that are perfect for creating lots of florals, but don't overthink it. Just have some fun with it. It's also really good practice for the water control with just kind of like these M strokes. Like I said, if you're starting dark, maybe adding a little more water towards the end, but have fun with it, and I will see you very soon for another tutorial.